Sometimes making the right real estate investment can feel like a showdown in the wild, wild west. Well, saddle up, partner, and ride along with attorney and real estate broker Marshall Biddle as he shares his expert advice and insight on real estate, the law, and more. Welcome to Real Marshall Law.
Well, hello there. It's Jack Murphy alongside the one and only Marshall Biddle.
Hey, Jack.
Good to have you back.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be back.
Episode number 3.
I know, right? We're just moving right along.
Yeah, we are. I never thought we'd make it to 3 shows.
I haven't yet to hear one. Sunday morning is early.
Yeah, we don't do this live. We crank it out in a studio in what used to be a hidden location.
That's right.
But there is a business license on the wall. By golly.
So the city of Conway knows where you are.
Yeah. The tax man always finds me.
For sure.
Especially this time of the year.
Yep, definitely.
Is real estate a good place to put money still?
I think it still is, Jack. Again, like I said, and I've said in the previous 2 shows, that the Myrtle Beach market's a different market than, kind of the run-of-the-mill. I mean, we're still hanging around. The market's still fairly good. You got... you can look at things like days on market, home value, inventory, new listings, and those kind of things. And it still looks like it's a decent market here in the greater Horry County Grand Strand area. So, yeah, I'd say right now real estate is still, they're not making any more of it. And I think real estate's always been good investment. And I think that stands clear today too.
I was chatting with Al Allen.
Okay.
County council member.
Sure.
He's got, his aviation business.
Yeah, if he flies the big bird.
Yeah.
I've seen that plane. That thing's cool. I like Al.
So he said that he flies all over the county, and there's a lot of room for more development.
Oh, yeah. There's a ton.
It's a big place.
Yeah, it is. And what's interesting is anytime if you've flown out of Myrtle Beach during the day, you see how much property is not developed.
Yeah.
And it's just thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of acres. Although a lot more has been developed here recently in the last several years, there's still way more property out there to be done. Now, that brings up the traditional problem of infrastructure.
Right, sure.
I mean, you can build all the houses you want, but if you can't get the cars and the schools and the water and sewer and electricity, you're going to have a mess.
Well, this past week they were doing, or were planning on doing, controlled burns out on International Drive.
Yep.
That's kind of my shortcut. That keeps me off a big part of 501.
Yep.
I didn't check my email. I should have because I get an update on whether they're going to do it or not, and we have some windy conditions. And so I saw some traffic congestion in front of Ocean Bays as I'm coming over the bridge. I said, okay, I'll just take 31. No, here's what I'll do. I'll take River Oaks Drive and then get on Carolina Forest Boulevard. Mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, what time of day was that?
This was morning.
Yeah.
I had to be in Conway by 9, and so I left the house at 7:15, and I pull up here in my parking spot here at 8:22.
Wow.
Took me over an hour to get here that day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So if it had been a normal day, I would have been late that day. But anyway, infrastructure's a big deal. I saw one sign. I won't mention the candidate, but it was kind of catchy. It got my attention. Tired of traffic, and then the website for the candidate that was running at a very busy intersection.
Right.
I might add. Tired of traffic?
Yep.
I'm like, well, where are we going to put it?
Yeah. Well, that International Drive is really nice. I mean, you think about, back in the day, I mean, my grandparents had a place out on 90, and, to me, I thought it was hell and gone. I mean, it was just forever. I thought it was an afternoon cruise to get there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you build International Drive and you're like, everybody that's there can be at the beach in 10 minutes.
Sure.
When before it was an hour. If you went down to 9 or you went down to, 501 and went that way, but all of a sudden you're 10 minutes from just about where you want to be. Myrtle Beach proper, right in the middle.
Houses being built everywhere.
Oh, it's amazing.
And then one of the Italian restaurants in North Myrtle Beach is building a new location out on Highway 905.
Wow.
Yeah, 905, and
Can bring in some culture to the country.
And things, it's you would think, why would they build this restaurant out here? But there's 100 houses behind it.
Yeah, but they don't come every night.
Down the road.
Yeah, they don't come every night.
No, they
right.
won't. But you see some commercial real estate popping up in where soybeans were 2 years ago.
Yep. Yeah, I know. The people keep coming. And, that's one of the things we were looking at, I'll tell you. So let's talk about some of those numbers. I've got migration results. The people that are moving to Myrtle Beach, this is November of last year through January of 24.
Okay.
From Washington, D.C. is the number one inbound. And then New York, that's pretty close. It almost was number one. Boston, Massachusetts is number 3. Charlotte, North Carolina is number 4. Philadelphia, PA is number 5, the 5th highest spot of people moving to Myrtle Beach. And then Raleigh, North Carolina, Chicago, Illinois, Los Angeles, Greensboro, North Carolina, and Atlanta, Georgia.
I'm thinking the North Carolina folks are just having a vacation home. They could be relocating here.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe they just want to be closer to the beach. I mean, some people like the mountains. And I think the mountains, I think Asheville, I think those places are great. We like to go visit the mountains. My parents have a mountain house in the mountains. I like to go visit. Could I live there? I don't know. Depends on if I can make the same kind of money I can make in California. If I come to South Carolina, I might make that jump. But now, where are people going who are leaving Myrtle Beach?
There are stats on that?
Yeah, there are.
Wow, I want to hear this.
The net outflow. Now, again, it's a totally different number.
Okay, they're going to Charlotte or Raleigh or Atlanta.
Well, believe it or not, Asheville, North Carolina. But again, these numbers, 20 people. Okay? Again.
Okay, but still.
10 moved to Columbia, South Carolina. So they maybe wanted to be at the Capitol. Crossville, Tennessee, we had 8 people move there.
Okay.
Hilton Head, 5 people. They didn't like our beach. They wanted to go to their beach. So maybe they had a little more money in their pocket.
Wow. Well, they didn't go there for really the nightlife.
Nope.
Hilton Head's more of an older
Yes, it
vibe
is,
than what we
for
have
sure.
here.
Yeah, I can't find anything in Hilton Head. Their signs are hidden. They're down on the ground. Took me a minute. It's kind of like Mount Pleasant. You go to Mount Pleasant and you're driving around in circles trying to figure out how to get in or out of somewhere. I can't find the place.
Sure.
No signs. Can't see them. But that's what it is. 4 went to Boone, North Carolina.
Oh, that's okay.
Cullowhee, North Carolina.
Home of the Catamounts.
Right.
Western Carolina.
Cullowhee. That's a beautiful spot now.
Cullowhee.
I'm going to tell you. So then we got Panama City, Florida, Boise, Idaho. I know. I'm
That's
just telling
a prepper
you.
right there.
Yep. Bowling Green, Kentucky,
Okay.
and Destin, Florida.
Okay.
Those are the top 10 places people are moving from Myrtle Beach to go to.
But in all fairness, not a lot of numbers of people
it's
leaving the
20,
area.
30, 38.
What do you say, 107?
No, it's less than that. It might be 40. It's 50 people.
Okay.
50 families, I guess. But the people coming here is, from Washington, D.C., it's 1,326, right? 1,122 from New York, 581 from Boston, Mass. The lowest one is Atlanta, and it's 156. So lots more people coming than going. So the other 50 people, they probably had to change with their jobs or something.
Yeah.
I can't imagine any more than that, Or they just retired.
I guess it could happen.
Yeah, I think so.
I was talking to a guy who's in this business who lives outside of Florence, and he has like a little small place here, but he wants to move here entirely. So I can see that with Charlotte and Raleigh.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure I would want to live in Florence. I mean, again,
we're spoiled.
No question.
I could live in Florence.
Yeah, I could too. There's lots of people. Yeah, there's lots of houses, lots of neighborhoods, lots of, reminds me a lot of some of the smaller places in Columbia and that kind of stuff. Thing about Columbia, it's in the center of the state. There's no beach there. Go to Florence, there's still no beach there. Their rivers are not quite like our rivers, but then, we're only an hour from the coast. I like being in Conway. I'm 10 minutes from the coast, and you got all the rivers I want.
Sure. I know some of these folks from New York and the D.C. area, and when you say D.C., I'm thinking that includes some Virginia and Maryland.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
In it as well, because I see a lot of folks from Maryland settling in around the Longs and Loris area.
Yep. Yeah.
And they don't have a problem driving. But I can get from downtown Loris to Myrtle Beach almost as fast as I can get to Conway now.
Yeah. I think a lot of the people that are moving here are not commuter people.
Right.
They don't have to work. They're retired. I mean, I've had a handful of people come to see me wanting to get wheels and that kind of stuff at my practice. And, they are retired, been retired, living up there. They had children who retired, moved here, and they're just moving to be close to the grandchildren.
Okay.
So there's a lot of that going on.
Well, you're also into that side of things.
Yes.
And how we'll get into this, maybe not this show, but another show, because it is something to look at, because we do have an older generation buying these homes, and someone may pass. How does a will and how does a probate change from here? I mean, is there such a thing as...
Yeah, since tax season's coming up, and we're here. Tomorrow's March. Well, Friday was March 1st. Let's talk about that. We can talk about some wills and trusts, and especially if you're moving here from another state, you certainly want to amend. If you're ever going to go back to that state, then keep what you have.
Okay.
But if there's no chance that you're going to go back to New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, whatever it is, then you want to change everything, because your will from there is going to be construed by South Carolina law according to the law where it was written. So unless you want to, and nobody knows, well, I don't know, because I'm a South Carolina lawyer, I don't know what that's going to mean to you in South Carolina, but we'll talk about that one day. We'll do a whole show on wills and trusts and that kind of stuff.
Sounds like a plan. How do people get in touch with you if they want some real estate info before we go to break?
Questions at realmarshallaw.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can submit anything or not. You can check me out on my website, which is biddlelawfirm.net, or you can call me at my office, 843-903-1600.
Okay. Stay tuned, buckaroos. We've got more Real Marshall Law straight ahead.
When it comes to real estate and the law, Marshall Biddle is keeping it real. You're listening to Real Marshall Law.
If you're buying or selling real estate and you need an attorney, contact Marshall Biddle at the Biddle Law Firm. Marshall's been involved in the purchase and sale of real estate for more than 30 years, and his family's been in the real estate development business for more than a century. In addition to being an attorney, Marshall is also a licensed real estate agent here in South Carolina. The Biddle Law Firm is located at 913 3rd Avenue in historic downtown Conway and online at biddlelawfirm.net.
It's time for more straight shooting with attorney and real estate broker Marshall Biddle. Welcome back to Real Marshall Law.
Marshall Biddle is a real estate broker, local attorney. We'll get to some of those tax questions maybe next week on our next broadcast. It's more of a focus on real estate this week and tracking some of those numbers, supply and demand.
Yeah, there's a few more. So again, we're in the first quarter, and so we're still getting some of last year's numbers and those kind of things. So I'm going to give a little rundown of some of this. Like the average home value in South Carolina stands right now at $285,000. So it's a 3.3% increase over last year. Mm-hmm. Days on the market's 26 days average. The housing inventory, there's 19,804 houses available for sale in South Carolina. Again, plus and minus. In January, there were 5,250 new listings. Again, median sale prices, about the same, 282,300, and then list price in January was up to $350,000. So it's still, a pretty strong market, certainly in this area. And of course, if you do, anything else with real estate, the three most important things in real estate are.
Does it begin with an L?
It does. Location, location, and location.
I was thinking that was it. Yeah.
That's it. And again, it's true for everything. You put the same house in a subdivision, it's $350,000. You put it on a nice pond, it's $450,000. You put it on a river, it's $750,000. You put it on the ocean, it's $1.5 million.
Crazy.
Location, location, location.
Right.
So
do you get more house for your money? Or is it just the same house and it's the location?
You know, it's interesting. I think the buyer, you got a different buyer.
Yeah.
You know, when you get to those numbers, and it just like the Grand Dunes kind of thing. When the Grand Dunes started building, they had condos that were, you know, $500,000 a piece, and you know, the people that are buying a $500,000 condo don't want to walk in and see, you know, $125,000 quality condo. They have something different.
Yep.
You know, and so again, just like that, you know, you got a different buyer for the $1.5 million, the $2.5 million. There's a house, I saw it, I was reading it this morning. It's a 10-bedroom house in Georgetown on the peninsula out there. It's $2.9 million. It's got 10 fireplaces, and one of them is in a bathroom. It's a beautiful home. I'm not sure exactly who built it or what they built it for, but you know, it's got a lot across the street that faces, it's on the water. So this house is not actually on the water, but you own the lot with it.
Oh, that's good.
And it's a beautiful house. But then again, you're in Georgetown. So, you know, you got to run to the Piggly Wiggly or the Food Lion, and, you know, but it's certainly a beautiful piece of property. You take that, put it at Debadoo, it's probably a $5 million piece of property. Debadoo's, man, that's an anomaly unto itself.
But
know.
I think it's a good location.
Yeah.
If you want true low country living, because you can head down to Charleston pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
And then Myrtle Beach the other way.
Yep. It's right in between. I mean, it's the 45 minutes in either direction. And there's a lot to be said. I mean, I grew up going to school in Georgetown, even though we lived in Conway for probably 90% of the time. And then the other 10% we lived at my parents' house in Murrells Inlet when they were remodeling the house on Lakeside. So, but, you know, so I'm familiar with Georgetown. I've always liked Georgetown. It has a funny smell every now and then. Depends on which way you're going, you know, but if you get used to it, it is what it is.
Is that because of the wood or the fish or the steel?
Yeah, well, no, it's not the steel. It's the paper mill.
There you go. Then that's the wood, yeah.
Yep, and they're going strong as ever, but the steel mill's open as well, and they're doing a good job. I think that they're not actually producing the steel down there. I think they're processing something. So the rolls come in. I think they come in on bigger rolls, and they're putting them on smaller rolls or something like that. But still, they're operational, and I think that's a good thing. Bring lots of good jobs to the area.
Yeah, I know it's a right to work state, and that was a pickle because there was an opportunity. It's probably been nearly 20 years now.
Yep.
Of where that could have opened, and then people were going to be without a job, and they didn't vote to keep it open.
Yeah,
it was a little bizarre. I think that's how it.
I think so. Anytime you get into the collective bargaining with the unions and that kind of stuff, I got nothing. I don't understand it. I know that unions came in the old days when it was, you know, U.S. Steel before, you know, and all these workers and that kind of stuff, and there were dangers to working. I get that, and I know there's dangers to working on everything, but I don't know. Unionization is a little different. I feel like it's just different, you know. So like I saw something on a union. Well, it was the Teamsters just approved their contract yesterday that they were approved with Anheuser-Busch.
Oh, okay.
The AB InBev kind of crowd. And when I looked at the details of it, every single worker got some $2,500 check.
Okay.
You know, everybody got an increase in their pay rate and then their benefits rate or whatever. I mean, it was across the board. So it's not a performance-based system. Everybody is entitled, and if you're there, you're there. And, you know, to me, it's kind of like when, you know, you got a county council crowd that gives everybody the same raise, or the school teachers. Everybody gets the same raise. Everybody's entitled to a raise. I just don't believe everybody's entitled to a raise. You know, I just don't. But that's how it works.
That's how the game's played.
No question.
And anytime there's an increase in the minimum wage and it has no bearing on the economics of some of these industries, you know what's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be less than 18 months before any little raise. If it's 25 cents, there's going to be a union somewhere, and that's just a cue.
Yep.
Because you can't win in the court of public opinion.
Man, have you seen the prices at the grocery store? I hate to say it. I mean, we'll step into the political realm for this session because I can't believe it.
It's mind-boggling to me. I'm a hustler.
Yeah.
And so I'm not limited with just one stream of income. I'm glad I've got that approach because I'm blown away by it. I saw some chicken tenders the other day. Just the cut chicken breast. There was 12 in the pack, and it was over $11.
Yeah,
and these
exactly.
Are thin.
Yeah.
And I went, what planet are we living on?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. I look at this stuff and I'm like, who's paying for this? I mean, I guess your food stamps doesn't go as far as it was if you're getting food stamps.
No.
I mean, but I go in there and I pay $100 for my groceries, and I look in there and I'm taking out 3 bags, and I'm like, and I got the manager special on the meat, which was half price, and something else, and might be
Don't reveal the days where you can get those. Okay?
No, that's a secret, right?
That's a secret.
And
I know it because I do it.
You got to call the Jack line if you want to know that information.
We're eating steak again. Don't worry about it.
That's right. Yes, we are.
Like when that manager special steak's cheaper than the chicken.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, so you got to time it, you got to know it, and it varies based on your neighborhood.
That's right.
It's not
That's right.
clear cut across the board.
No, it's not. It depends on who the manager of the store is, where you shop.
And I will not buy 93% hamburger, 93% lean.
Yeah.
Don't want it. 80 is my favorite.
Yeah.
Because I like a little fat.
Right. Courtney buys. I get the 85 for the 83 for the dogs.
Yeah.
She cooks their meals and or makes it for the week, and so they eat pretty good.
Yep.
Normally ground chuck.
If I get there around 80, then I'm looking for a pound 1.34.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna cook it out. But
That's right.
The flavoring is in the fat.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got to be.
Yeah. The 93 doesn't have any flavor at all.
It doesn't.
Right.
It's just there.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Who'd have thought?
Who would have thought? It is bizarre, and it leaves me scratching my head.
Yeah.
And I was never thinking I'd be back into looking for an apartment, but I'm looking at an apartment. Not for me, but a member of my family, my son,
Sure.
as he travels somewhere.
Yep.
The lease on that apartment is going to be more than my mortgage payment.
Yeah, more than you could buy the property for.
Sure.
It doesn't make sense. I know you're thinking short term, it's going to be for a couple of years, but that's pretty much where you go. You said minimum wage earlier, and I'll tell you what's interesting. California created a new law about the minimum wage having to go to 20 or 25.
Fast food workers are 25.
That's correct.
They got a separate category.
Yep. Panera Bread got exempted from that law.
How?
They gave money to Governor Newsom.
Oh.
They got exempt from that. So is that how that works?
Wow.
So if I play games and give money to the politicians, then I don't have to abide by the laws that everybody else does. Is that the country we live in now,
Well,
Jack?
the crazy thing about that is, sure, somebody over there just making French fries is getting $25 an hour, but he's never going to get it full time. And what they're finding is that some of these chefs at some of these restaurants are going in and getting the part-time jobs because they're getting $25 an hour to wrap up a hamburger. I mean, this is a walk in the park for them. So you've got like chefs that are at some of the world-class establishments. They're going over working part-time, making fast food. And if you're an owner of a McDonald's franchise and you got a guy that works over there at like the Flying Flounder,
Yeah.
and he's got a James Beard certificate, and he's willing to come in there and work, who's going to get the job? It's not the people that was set for.
Yeah.
And you make less money because you're never going to be full-time.
Well, I remember when they started talking about this $15 thing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what they replaced the $15 employee with? A kiosk. There's 4 kiosks in every McDonald's now instead of the 8 registers they used to have.
Man, I just want to go boil myself because I see some guy, his pants are halfway down to the ground, and he's scratching himself. He's on that touch screen. I'm not going, hey, man, look here.
Right.
If I got to do all this, just give me a cloth and just give me some vinegar.
I order on the app. I pull up. I don't even go to the window anymore because I don't want to give them a chance to make it wrong. So I do the app. I pull into the curbside, and I sit and wait.
Now, I'm not an advocate for the cashless society,
No, I'm not either.
But I have been in line at a fast food place. Usually when I'm driving on the road is where I frequent these establishments most. And I've seen a guy, and he pulls out money, and I'm like, going, dude, that looked like a wet $10 bill. Then when I go up there to pay $20 for the Happy Meal,
Yeah, who gets the wet $10 bill back?
and then they hand it to me, man, and I'm like, money ought not be wet,
No, for sure.
even if you're laundering it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, you know, when I try to dry my $100 bills, they streak, you know? I mean, or they catch on fire in the
my
dryer. I can't
goodness.
figure that
It's
out.
just brutal.
It is. These are the first world problems that we have.
It's just tough being us.
Yeah, for sure.
How can people find out more info about what it is you do, real estate and wills and probate, that sort of stuff?
Well, they can reach out to me at the Biddle Law Firm. They can check out my website, biddlelawfirm.net, and then you can call the office at 843-903-1600. And if you want to ask questions about this show, you can send an email to questions@realmarshallaw.com.
All right, Kemosabe.
All right, brother, let's ride on in.
Yeah,
Happy trails, right?
We'll be back with more in just a bit.
If you're buying or selling real estate and you need an attorney, contact Marshall Biddle at the Biddle Law Firm. Marshall's been involved in the purchase and sale of real estate for more than 30 years, and his family's been in the real estate development business for more than a century. In addition to being an attorney, Marshall is also a licensed real estate agent here in South Carolina. The Biddle Law Firm is located at 913 3rd Avenue in historic downtown Conway and online at biddlelawfirm.net.
Giddy up! We're back with more of Real Marshall Law.
It's what we do.
We're almost at the end of the broadcast.
Yep, for sure.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, for those that are contributing to IRAs or whatever retirement plan,
Yep.
You have until the 15th of April
That's right.
for last year's contributions if you want to do a catch-up or something like that. Not that we're going to talk a lot about taxes, but now's also a good time when we change the batteries in our smoke detectors. And
Yeah, I think at this time of year, you ought to, after the end of the year, you're getting into the first quarter, you're dealing with tax. Like this year, April 15th is on a Monday. So normally we have, if it falls on a weekend, you get the 16th, 17th, 19th, whatever it ends up being.
Yeah,
but
sure.
This year it's the 15th. And so, that's a Monday. So it's going to be Tax Monday, which is going to be a lot of fun for those that have to pay.
Monday and tax day.
Yeah. I'm thinking about calling in sick that day. Calling in well. I feel good today. I'm going fishing. I might go fishing with Benjamin that day just for the heck of it.
I'm on top of my tax situation this year a little bit more, but I am so accustomed to doing an extension
Yeah.
that it just takes a load off my mind. I got enough to worry about.
Yeah.
People say, "Man, do you owe that much?" I'm like, "No, not really."
Yeah. Yeah, I used to do that,
Gonna
and then
owe
I
a little
just
bit more this year.
just put it off till October the 15th and be done with it. But now I'm like you. I want to get it done, just move on, get it filed, and not have to worry about it till the end of the year again.
Okay.
But listen, there have been times where I've lived, extension to extension, just to put it off because I couldn't get time to put all the stuff together.
Sure. And then there are cash flow issues, that come into play.
For sure.
Because my accountant is not cheap.
Right. And they're not getting any cheaper.
No.
It's like the cost of groceries. It
Like,
just
well,
keeps
man,
going
you
up
know
and
how
up
much
and
I
up.
pay you to save me money?
Right.
How warped is that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I used to pay an accountant, and I'd get things back, and I'd be paying more, and I'm like, what am I paying you for? Right? I said, listen, I pay you to not pay taxes. No, that's not why you
Not
pay
how
me.
it happens.
I'm like, oh, okay, I must have misread the instructions on
And
that.
I don't know if I think we've got a few more IRS agents. I don't know if that was ever settled or not. Did they get budgetized? for
Yeah,
that?
I don't know. I don't know whether they got that or didn't
I'm
get
just
it.
wondering if you're more likely to get audited if you continually file extensions.
I don't think that's what draws it. I think what draws it is your political persuasion is what draws it this time.
Oh.
I think that whoever's in that house.
Well, I'm a libertarian, so they ought to let me pay my taxes on April 20th.
That's
420.
correct. 420, right? For sure.
We are out of time, brother.
Wow, I know it goes quick, doesn't it? Well, if you got any questions about any of your tax stuff or end of the year stuff, it's a good time to check for your wills and probate documents and make sure you got your wills, your powers of attorney, and those kind of things done. If you got any questions, give us a call. We don't charge for questions, but if you come in and want to do some work, we'll work out a fair fee for you and, get it done. But short of that, we're happy to help you and talk to you and see if we can work out something for you. But thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my friend.
Martial Law.
Real Martial Law is a paid program. The views expressed on this show are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of the ownership or management of this broadcast station.